This is a short love story from the time when the internet was newly becoming popular among people. Back then, people used to connect with each other through chat rooms and different websites. Everyone had a unique ID name, and that's how they connected with others. This story follows a similar pattern, where two people living in the same city become great online friends. However, they don't know anything about each other in real life, nor do they wish to. They simply use their online connection to share their thoughts and feelings. Bollywood silver screen presents You've Got Mail, a story that begins in Manhattan, where a woman named Kathleen runs a children's bookstore. The bookstore was originally her mother's, but after her mother passed away, she took over. Kathleen's life is going smoothly and her bookstore is doing well. Children love visiting because she reads them stories, and she also has a boyfriend. This was the era when the internet was still new to the general public. Many websites allowed people to chat and get to know each other, with everyone using unique IDs. One day, Kathleen connects with a man named Joe in a chat room. They enjoy talking to each other and become online friends. They make a pact not to ask for each other's real names and only use their online usernames. They also decide not to ask any personal questions about each other's lives. All they know is that both of them live in Manhattan and are over 30 years old. Since they live in the same city, they unknowingly cross paths multiple times but never recognize each other as their online friend. Joe's full name is Joe Fox, and his family owns a chain of bookstores called Fox Books, which is famous nationwide. He is a sharp businessman who strategically opens his bookstores near small independent ones, offering major discounts and even setting up copyrights inside. This often forces small bookstores to close due to the competition. His next target is to open a large bookstore right in front of Kathleen's. When Kathleen and her employees see the construction of the new Fox Books store, they become worried. They fear that once it opens, they won't be able to compete and will have to shut down. However, Kathleen is confident and reassures them that their bookstore has been around for a long time, their customers are loyal, and Fox Books won't affect their business. But her employees remain anxious, making Kathleen uneasy as well. At home, Kathleen gets irritated by her boyfriend, who is constantly typing on his typewriter. She argues with him but quickly realizes her mistake and apologizes, as she is a kind-hearted person who never wants to hurt anyone. On the other hand, Joe also has issues with his girlfriend but chooses to ignore them. Joe's father has been married 4 times, and his young half-siblings prefer visiting Kathleen's bookstore for storytelling sessions. Though Joe initially resists, he is forced to visit Kathleen's bookstore with the kids. There, he meets Kathleen in person for the first time. She greets him warmly and asks for his name, to which he responds with only his first name, Joe, without revealing his surname. Meanwhile, Kathleen criticizes the new Fox Books store that is about to open, unaware that she is talking to its owner. Days pass, and Joe and Kathleen continue chatting online daily, secretly from their respective partners. Eventually, the Fox Books store opens, causing Kathleen to lose customers and face a financial crisis. Despite trying various strategies to revive her business, nothing works. She begins to accept that she might have to close her mother's bookstore. One evening, Kathleen and her boyfriend attend a party where Joe is also present. Upon seeing her, Joe tries to avoid her, but Kathleen confronts him, accusing him of spying on her bookstore when he visited with the children. Joe gets angry and responds that his company is too big to bother spying on a small bookstore, especially since it is on the verge of closing. During their argument, their partners arrive. Interestingly, Joe's girlfriend is a huge fan of Kathleen's boyfriend, who is a writer. They start chatting, leaving Joe and Kathleen alone. Both eventually leave the party with their respective partners. That night, Joe feels guilty about how he spoke to Kathleen. Unable to sleep, he logs into the chat room and messages his online friend, saying he feels like a terrible person for hurting someone. Kathleen, who is also upset, replies that when someone speaks harshly to her, she can't respond immediately but later regrets not giving a strong reply. Joe jokes that they should exchange traits of her innocence for his boldness. As time passes, their online bond deepens, and they continue sharing their personal feelings without realizing they are meeting each other in real life. One day, Kathleen goes shopping and faces a problem at the cashier when her credit card is declined. Joe, who happens to be nearby, steps in and convinces the cashier to accept it using his charm. He then leaves without saying much. Kathleen is surprised by this gesture, as she recalls their argument at the party. Meanwhile, Kathleen's business continues to decline. She shares her struggles with her online friend and asks for advice. Joe suggests that in business, one must fight and never give up. Encouraged by his words, Kathleen decides to fight against Fox Books. She asks her boyfriend to publish an article in his newspaper about how large bookstores like Fox Books are killing small businesses. The article gains traction, and some people even protest against Fox Books. However, it has little impact on Joe's business. Although Kathleen gains sympathy, customers still prefer Fox Books due to its discounts. Eventually, Kathleen realizes she has no choice but to close her bookstore. Feeling heartbroken, she confesses to her online friend that she wants to meet him. Joe, excited yet nervous, agrees. However, when he reaches the meeting spot and sees Kathleen, he is shocked. He now knows she is his online friend and feels guilty for being the reason behind her struggles. Unable to face her, he leaves without revealing his identity. Kathleen waits but is disappointed when her online friend doesn't show up. She returns home and checks her messages but finds nothing. Later, Joe messages her saying that he will meet her soon but cannot explain why he didn't show up. As Kathleen prepares to close her bookstore, she realizes that she has also fallen for her online friend. Meanwhile, Joe and his girlfriend break up when he realizes she is more concerned about herself than their relationship. Kathleen and her boyfriend also break up, as he confesses to having feelings for someone else. After closing her bookstore, Kathleen becomes deeply emotional. One day, Joe visits her and apologizes for what happened to her business. He also subtly hints that she should give her online friend another chance. That night, Kathleen messages her online friend again, saying she wants to meet. They finally decide to meet at a park. When Kathleen arrives, she sees Joe with his dog, realizing that her online friend was Joe all along. Overwhelmed with emotions, she tearfully says, "I wished it were you," as they embrace each other, marking the beginning of their real-life love story.